talk is going to be about distribution, which is a problem I know a lot of people face. And specifically, how can we engineer distribution for infra tools and infrastructure? So how can you guys get on the dot? Let's start by talking about what is happening today in this space. We all know that cloud code, anti-gravity, OpenAI's Codex, and all these tools help people build. So they make developers a lot faster and they ship better code. But also on the other side, newbies, beginners, can ship code as well. So it's getting less hard to produce code and therefore to produce apps. So when the cost of producing code is reduced, the whole shift becomes, and the challenge becomes distribution. So instead of the challenge being building, it becomes distribution. So this is why it was really important for me to speak about this. And just to give two examples of what happened in recent weeks, I don't know if you guys have you heard about this CloudBot or OpenCloud, whatever its name is now. Yeah? So it took the internet by storm. And you can see here that the number of GitHub stars is just exponential. And here, this is the creator. He says, I ship code, I don't read. Yeah. On the opposite side, we have Tailwind CSS, one of the most used JavaScript frameworks. And you can see also a lot of adoption. Unfortunately, they had to fire most of their staff because their revenue is down 80%. So two different sides of what is happening with AI coding tools, which is why distribution is really important. So today we'll look at three things. The first one is understanding the problem and studying it. Then we'll look at go-to-market concepts and the toolkits that you can use. And then we'll speak specifically for people that are building tools and protocols and infrastructure, why partnerships and integrations are really important. So before we start, this is me. I'm Ismael. I work at Amanar Labs, and I build revenue engines for crypto and fintech companies. My background is I'm a software engineer. I work in banking, consulting. I still build from time to time, and I'm in crypto since 2020. And since I helped many projects land their first partnerships, I wanted to share with you what works. Okay, so let's look at the problem. You might have faced this, or you will face this. Imagine this is you have the tools, and you look at the distance and you notice there are some lights, there's something happening, but you don't really know what it is. So you're really in build mode, focused on building software. And when you do distribution or sales and marketing, it's occasional, it's not really structured, you don't really think things through. So you might hear from people during hackathons or people you pitch to, this is a nice project, or this is interesting, but then you get no commitment, nothing happens. Okay. Does this sound familiar? Raise your hands if, okay. So let's look at this problem and analyze it, put it under the microscope. There are internal things that you can control, and there are external things that you can influence but cannot control. On the internal side, you have the method and the strategy for the go-to-market, the sales and marketing. You have the execution. So these are decisions you can control. You also can know if you are pitching to the right or the wrong people. And you can control your product friction. Is it hard to be onboarded on your product? On the external side, and I notice a lot, sometimes the audience cannot repeat what you do. They did not fully understand it. It's too technical for them. And sometimes they perceive risk, whether security risk, reputation risk. We will speak about this. The good news is that we can engineer a solution out of it. So how do we get from the fog and the distance to being on a stage with a golden box that people show you appreciation and love? It's when your product is adopted. And for that to happen, you need to have a good product, trust, and you need to acquire attention. So this is the formula. And why do I say that? It's because in your client's head, these are the questions that he thinks about when he sees your product. And when I mean client, it can be the user, investor, it can be anyone that you are pitching to and that you want to onboard on your product. So on the product side, you might ask, am I sure this works? Does this solve my problem? On the trust side, will this project survive? Will it grow? Is it a scam? And attention means how many times have these guys seen you on social media or on hackathons, conferences. So how do we engineer this? We think in inputs, outputs, and loops, just like you're building software. On the design side, you have the persona, and I will detail these things. The offer, and the proof. And then you're on execution, namely outreach to people, you try to get on calls, closing. And then you have feedback and data, things that you can learn from. And then you build the loop, and you improve your whole system. Is this clear? So let's start with the persona. You can see our guy is talking to users, investors, clients, and he asks them some questions. Mainly, what is their pain? Why should they adopt your product? This is the biggest challenge. Then you can think of how does your product solve their pain? How do they buy or integrate your product? What are their concerns or objections? Always welcome objections and concern. That's what makes you improve your product. And you have different persona types. You can have consumer, the general public, developer or technical, or B2B and institutions. And I think here, if we're talking about infrastructure and tooling, these are mainly our personas, dev teams and technical. Let's go over the offer. How to package your product, how to put it in a machine that you have a cardboard box and you turn it into gold. It's always about asking the right questions. What specific results do you deliver? How long to see the first value? Why is it safe to try your product? And do you have proof? I want to insist that your offer is not your product. It's the outcome, the timeline, and the guarantees that you offer. It's a packaging. Now, let's talk about specifically the go-to-market. How do you take your golden box to the scene so that people can see it and show appreciation? You have 3 different types of motions that you can start. You have developer-led motions for go-to-market, and these are like, who here uses Excel? So they have a great product. It's easy for developers. The experience is really good. You have partnerships led, which we will zoom in. For example, Chile. And you have community led, like Ethereum. By organizing hackathons, ecosystem grants, this is how you guys get adoption. I want to also talk about the acquisition channels, which is how you acquire your users or your clients. Partnerships and integrations. We will zoom on this. You also have content on social media, influencer and KOLs, search engine optimization, and today generative AI search engine optimization, ads, referral and affiliate programs, conferences, hackathons, and for Web3, tokens. These are all acquisition strategies. Let's zoom in on partnerships and integrations. I think you might be really interested because for your type of product, this is probably the best. And why they work well for tools and infrastructure? It's borrowed trust. When you go to a partner that already has clients or users and you integrate with them, you can rely on the trust that users place in them to build trust with these users. They also have faster understanding of your product and the problems that you are solving because they're in the same industry or they're close to you. And they have existing distribution. And here you can think of different partner types. DEX, SEX, wallets, bridges and oracles, payment solutions, banks, governments. The list goes on. And when I want you to think about these, I want you to think of a loop that you can start when you want to find a partner. First of all, you need to understand who they are, find them on some social media, make lists, then you contact them, you run outreach campaigns, you try to get them on calls, you try to close them on a partnership or a collab or a pilot. If that doesn't happen, you have some feedback, and then you learn from this, and you start the loop again. To give you an example, I've been working with this client who has AI tools marketplace, and he relies on partnerships with devs basically. So his goal was to build a listing system for tools to get listed on his marketplace. And the challenge is there is a lot of quality tools that are launched daily. But unfortunately, no traffic because devs won't list anywhere, unless they are convinced. And yeah, devs as well are getting spammed by a lot of people asking them to list on their directory. So our strategy was to run dev-run machine. We built a scouting system, personalized outreach, and continuous optimization with the loop that I just showed you before. And we noticed an increase in 3 months of 34% of the tool system. The main idea here was that we created a zero friction offer and done for you for developers. They don't need to do much effort. Another example I wanted to give you guys was Chainlink. I don't know if you guys know Chainlink, but they want to become the abstraction layer for to connect banks. And they partnered with Swift. Swift is actually a network that's used for cross-border transfers. And what they did was, they did not pitch blockchain. They pitched, keep your existing systems, add blockchain capability. Most banks have already a lot of tools. They have legacy tools, legacy code. It's already very hard for them to manage all this software. So they really found the angle by which to contact these banks and convince them. And today they're embedded into Swift, which is 11,500 banks, according to distribution network. And they created default dependencies. So even if you're not using chaining or if you're not caring about them, you might be using them just because your client is coming from banks. Might, you know. Here you have a small history of how that happened. So what are the takeaways that you can have from this talk? First of all, think of distribution in systems, not ad hoc activities. Then you have adoption is the combination of a good product, trust, and attention. And for infrastructure and tooling, partnerships and integrations are distribution. Okay, so this was me. I'm Ismael. Thank you very much for your attention. And any questions?
Yes. I guess I just so two related questions. What are some what are some good crypto native product that has really good the distribution that you mentioned? And then on the other side, what are some really good products that they suck in distribution? Crypto native, not centralization.
Okay. The first question was? I didn't hear you.
Good product that has good distribution.
Okay. Good product that has good distribution, I'd say Ethereum, Solana, the big ones. Really big distribution, huge distribution. There's a lot of examples, but
Besides like the layer ones or layer twos, like specific product.
and besides exchanges, okay. Anything that deals with payment service providers, so they already are embedded in the traditional system, so they get users that way. I'm thinking about crypto cards, which is quite easy for them to grow because the incentive is already there. And your second question was?
What are some the project that has really good product, but then they suck in distribution? Many that you can list off.
Yeah, I mean anything that you build and basically it's a really good product, there's a lot of engineering behind it, but it's not having any revenue or any attention. A few of them. Yeah, but generally not focusing on distribution, but you need to think about both. When you're building a product, always have your distribution in mind so that you can thrive. And you see that when you don't think about it, you can kill your product in very short time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes,
How do you see a distribution for, let's say, open source infra projects? Because, I mean, like, most of them have distribution, right? But then I guess a lot of them probably don't make money, probably. So how do you like, put those two together? How do you think about it?
This is an open source project. I wouldn't say do the same as he does, but be inspired. Going viral or just building a lot and not focusing on just shipping code, but also on how can I distribute, how can I get more users. It's really important, and that's how we grow. I'd say for open source projects, not only partnerships, but also developer relations. So how can I make the developer experience really good, like for Snow? In order, like for Snow maybe not the best example, but they have really good experience, implementation, it's easy. It's easy to be on board. There are a few blockchains that are that way as well. They're really welcoming. So maybe think of how can I welcome more developers to build on top of me. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, you were talking about that loop essentially, right? That for a platform, if you're building, you need users, but for users to be onboarded on the platform, you need some sort of value and data, which you can't get unless you have users. So, like one method, one approach you shared, are there any other things we should keep in mind or other approaches which we can get?
So you mean when you don't have inputs here?
Yeah, you were sharing one case study about some developers, right?
This one?
Yeah, this one. So, like, here you approach them, then a BFI thing for developers. In more broader context like this, are there any other things which we can do or any other stuff which we should have in mind while approaching?
I think when you're approaching developers, you are already kind of in their shoes, so you need to think, how would I like to be approached? So what am I thinking about? What are my pains? And you customize the outreach. You customized or personalized outreach function of what that person is building. Is he a JavaScript guy? Is he building a protocol, etc.? So you're touching on topics that are dear to him, and that's how you can get a foot in the door.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yes.
So my question is, like we saw in the beginning, okay, this guy with open cloud, now he goes viral with his product, everyone talks about it. But on the other side, we have this CSS framework, which is basically always also used everywhere, but the company behind it is basically dead. So can you think about the sustainable business model in open source? Because I think we will, like AI agents building stuff, they're seen as some kind of a parasitic system because they take all the open source input, they just get it without giving anything back. So I heard that for Tailwind it was like this, that their advertisement was mostly over their reputation and over their website. Now nobody is going to the website anymore because the agent consuming the CSS directly. So basically it killed their business model. And I think also like the open cloud guy, everyone talks about him and it's nice, but is there a possibility to monetize it? Or like do you see a sustainable business model?
Definitely. First, let's talk about the projects that are not doing well. I think, with AI agents and agentic coding, the landscape will change a lot. I wanted to show you, I'm going to try to find it later. There's this chart that shows a lot of SaaS software and basically their market share is growing because of AI. So the business landscape is really changing because of that. That's a reality moving forward. So thinking of business models, if I think about this guy, you can have service, you can have maybe people that are not developers come and he offers them a product or a service that's easier. You can think about other products, but he actually nailed distribution because he's already seen, even if his product is very recent. So that's important. That's the first step. The second step is, of course, to monetize.
Maybe then another question to another topic. I think it's very intelligent to kind of get the trust through partnerships. So I agree on that. But then we have like a hand-in-hand problem. How are getting the trust of the partners in the first place? Do you have an idea? Like if I, as a small developer, reach out to whatever, I mean, like in the crypto space, it's easier to get some funding if you have a nice idea. But like if I reach out for Maybank, for example, here, they're like, who are you? I don't care. Like, do we have some experience with that, or can you give some guidelines?
Yeah, this is a very good question. I say do things that don't scale. You need to be meeting people, talking to people, because partnerships and sales happens in conversations. So the more, the better. It's not something, I know developers like to optimize it before starting, so it's not something to optimize yet. Have the conversations, hear what they have to say, talk to the different people, whether it's a partner, investor, client, hear what they have to say, how they see the problem that you are dealing with. And that way it will be a lot easier for you to create a partnership because it might not happen the first time, the second time, but the 20th time, you already have, okay, I've already had this 19 times. I know what to say, I know what the problems are, how to tailor something for them. So you'll be a lot more efficient in that. But it doesn't happen the first time, and this is a lot of luck.
Anyone else have questions? Okay, great. And go ahead.
So how do you handle the distribution? Like you have built a great product, it has really been a change in terms of marketing how do you handle distribution?
So you have a great product. Yeah. Who can you convince about that?
Yeah, it has real utilities and that can be used and just like if you say that you need to have that has a real utilities. But the distribution.
So you have a great product. You're trying to take it here.
Yeah.
You need attention. You need trust. You already have the product. Now it's about how can I build trust and attention. And think about, okay, what's your product?
Yeah, so basically it provides a instance for on-chain business of your person with a cloud as so basically it's an AI infrastructure product. And a product is basically let's say that you have I used to have that in your schedule. It's basically that you interact with the AI with the on-chain in your time. So you can make decisions based on that.
Okay?
Yeah.
Who should use this? Devs?
Yeah, it has a different utilities like whatever you can do with the AI, you can do with this, but it has different utilities like for developers. You can use that to build a house there. It has also retail users. They can also build and media houses. And it has very different methods that one uses.
Okay, why? Don't be offended. Why would I use it instead of cloud code, for example?
Yeah, so let's say that you are a media house and there is a deepfake video and it is going viral. And now you need an immutable proof of that in that this video is authenticated or not. You just need to authenticate it. Now what you will do is you will basically, I'm just telling you, if you are a media house, you will basically build an on-chip immutable proof that this video is authenticated or not by the subnet which is basically our infrastructure in itself and from the witness network. So it basically verifies that, and now you can basically provide a proof and write an article based on that. So or you can basically go to yourself, you can basically get predictions based on that and provide me if I'm doing this well, provide me with prediction but with and this is the one who or different kind of.
Do you already have users?
Yeah, no, yeah, but we are building it basically at the end of this web, we will have
Okay, I think talk to your users because the way you will, the way they think about the product is what you should go from, not how you perceive it. Because you're the builder. Of course, it's like it's your business, so you think it's the most meaningful in the world. But your users are more important. The reviewers are more important. Ask them questions. How does that solve? How does that compare to other AI solutions? And you go from there, basically. And I would say definitely meet media houses. You said, right?
Yeah.
Media houses.
Yeah.
You should meet them also. Demonstrate. Also see what they have to say. You can basically list a few media houses, maybe 10. On some emails or some outreach campaign and try to meet them, try to demo your product and just listen what they have to say. Any other questions?
Okay, then let's give a round of applause to this guy.